All right, really important above ground video of today's inspection findings. Actually, I talked to you, you're here on site. And as I said, it can be difficult sometimes to decipher where exactly I'm viewing from and what I'm viewing from the perspective of my sewer camera. We jumped around quite a bit throughout this inspection here to pick up as much information as we could on the sanitary system, not only below ground, but above as well, with our vents and such, and cleanouts for that matter. And unfortunately, we have just a ton of issues that need to be addressed by a plumber. On the plus side, system's been replaced with plastic, and from my perspective, it looks like the plumbers did a decent job on what they did installing the system. It just looks like contractors came in after them and completely destroyed things. And that's really unfortunate. Now, when it comes to the installation of the system, there are a couple things that are questionable. One, the depth of the sewer line coming off this bathroom is rather shallow and should be investigated by a plumber. We exit the side here. We have a clean out here in which we viewed from initially. And then we run out about 30 feet and we run into a smashed section of pipe. Now that section of pipe is only 1 foot, approximately 1 foot 7 inches down, which is extremely shallow for the distance we've already traveled from the bathroom itself. So that's one thing it's questionable on the plumbing end of things. The other couple of things that are questionable is going to be the venting. Should be investigated by a plumber. There's several vents. We've got what appears to be ABS protruding out of the roof, but you drop down, you take a turn, and we transition into a material that I personally have not run across before. That should be looked into by a plumber to make sure that that material qualifies for venting. 3, and this is a rather common thing here, and not a huge ordeal. I just see it a lot. It doesn't necessarily make or break an inspection, but we've got an island sink. We have no obvious access to the venting to confirm that that's done properly, nor do we have a clean out installed for the kitchen sink drain line. Both of those are becoming a really common occurrence. I'm not sure why. You should have access to that venting if it's not exposed to make sure that it's done properly. And if you're updating the kitchen and doing an island sink, which we all know is a contemporary thing, then you should have a clean out, especially due to the fact that we've been using plastic for 50 years and just about every home built from the 90s on is going to have a clean out for the sewer line, for the kitchen sink drain line, and often for the washer drain line. We're seeing one for the washer drain line, but we're not seeing one for the kitchen sink drain line. So that kind of covers the plumbing side of things. Questionable venting, questionable depth coming off the front guest bathroom, and then no access to the venting for the island sink, as well as no clean out for the island sink. That's not necessarily the reason that we jumped into the poor category. There's a slew of other issues that, in my opinion, once again, most likely happen or were caused by other contractors coming in and simply not doing their due diligence, or maybe being lazy. I don't want to point fingers. I'm not here to throw out insults. I'm just here to tell you what I saw in the video. So we're just going to walk through a handful of the issues that we ran into, and everything on this video, this walkthrough video, should be addressed by a plumber. You want to get a plumber out here as soon as possible. They should review this inspection video and walk through the video so they have a general idea of what they're walking into. But you got a lot of issues that should be addressed by a plumber as soon as possible, or you are going to experience a sewer backup and you're going to end up risking flooding out a newly manicured or built home, which is the last thing you want. So the first issue we saw early on coming off our clean out here is a smashed section of sewer pipe, which I located here. Now, there are a handful of other issues. The reason I didn't throw down location markers is because I'm not sure if I'm allowed to start throwing markers everywhere, and I don't want to tag up the property, have an upset builder. But we for sure have a crushed section here that needs to be addressed. The other things can be located by the plumber and should be located by the plumber for either cleaning and or repair. Now, another thing we saw jumping in from the 2-inch clean out in our guest bathroom was a large piece of construction debris that was obstructing almost the entire line. I'm not sure if it's a piece of tile, if it's a piece of wood, but you run into that really early on, most likely just upon exiting the home. And it's a hard obstruction that I was unable to push my camera beyond. There's a strong possibility that that debris is going to have to be, that section is going to have to be located, and you're going to have to dig down, cut that section of pipe to remove that debris. It's possible that a plumber can clear that, but the problem is they're not going to be able to retrieve that debris. The only option they have is pushing it further down to the common line and then out to the city, and you risk it just jamming that deeper into the line. You risk wasting a bunch of time because it can get caught up later on or further out in the line, and then you end up still having to dig it up. So if it were me and I used to do the service plumbing side of things, I wouldn't waste my time with trying to push that all the way out to the city. I would get that located, I would dig it up, and I would retrieve that and then patch up the spot that you dug up and actually cut to retrieve the material. So cross section, debris off the guest bathroom, the front guest bathroom needs to be repaired. A large chunk of construction debris coming off the back guest bathroom. We don't know what's going on beyond that point. You could have a slew of issues from that point out to the point of connection with the sewer line off the master side. It's a giant question mark because we're unable to get past, one, the smashed section, and two, the large chunk of debris coming off the back bathroom. Now, coming off the master side wasn't as bad, but we still have, our issues, right? The main thing is it appears that not only hard construction debris made its way into the line, as we just went over, but it looks like people were pouring wet construction debris down one of the fixtures in the master bathroom, most likely when the home was still in a state of demo, which has now dried up in the line. So you're going to see early on there the pipe is flat, and that's because there's a thick layer of debris that has adhered, was once a liquid, has since dried, and has adhered to the bottom of the pipe. Two, as we make our way further on into the backyard, you're going to see in the video large sheets of probably that same material. Could be grout, could be concrete, really unknown at this point. But that has actually popped off the pipe and is partially obstructing the line further down. So the line needs to be cleared of that construction debris if possible. The loose stuff, they should be able to clear that with relative ease. The stuff that's adhered to the pipe further upstream, unknown. That's really up to the plumber and what the capabilities are and what they have machinery-wise. Furthermore, after both of our lines merge, side coming off, or the line coming off the guest side, the line coming off the master side, we're going to take a drop. They're going to merge. We run out. We dive below water because we have more construction debris in the line. And then as we pop up out of water, you're going to see that we go into some pretty haggard pipe. It's old Orangeburg pipe that should have been replaced a long time ago. For whatever reason, they left it in. I can only presume, like in the inspection video, that's going to be running underneath the back wall and probably partially, if not in the alley. And so this is speculation, mind you. But if that is in fact under the back wall and in the alley, I'm just assuming that the builder or contractor said, hey, that's not our responsibility, that's the city's responsibility, and simply tied into that rough failing pipe. But here's the deal. It doesn't really matter whose responsibility it is. It needs to be replaced. Doesn't matter if it's the contractor's responsibility or the city's responsibility. Somebody should have reached out to the city, if it is in fact their responsibility, and had that replaced, or gotten whatever permitting they needed to replace it themselves. Because now, even if we had, which we have, an updated plastic system, it's riddled with issues, mind you. But take away all the issues. Say hypothetically, we don't have a smashed section, we don't have hard construction debris, basically both obstructed bathrooms. We don't have a bunch of construction debris coming off the master side. Say none of that was there, you would still have a failing section of sewer pipe that everything is tying into that is going to back up your sewer line. Therefore, it needs to be replaced. So, again, front bathroom, smashed section of line. It's located over there. Questionable depth coming off that bathroom. back guest bathroom, hard piece of construction debris completely obstructing the line, which will also back up the line. I got pictures of both of those. Coming off the master side, we've got construction debris adhered to the bottom of the pipe, as well as loose construction debris further out. Both need to be cleared from the line. We've gone over the questionable venting material I personally haven't run across before that should be investigated by a plumber. And it's possible that is plastic and there was something that was poured in there, making it look like that, but it should be looked into, because as I said, it's not something that I personally run across, and I've been viewing lines Monday through Friday, some Saturdays for the last 5.5 years. And before that, I was doing service plumbing for another 6.5 years. So I viewed quite a bit of sanitary systems in my time, not only here throughout the greater Phoenix Valley, but also in San Diego County. Now stepping inside, we'll wrap up in here. You're going to see in the inspection video, dropping down one of our vents above the master bathroom. It looks to be either a sock or a rag that has been shoved into the line. Unknown if that is a vent tying in there to that. You can have multiple vents coming together before we actually go up to the roof. Doesn't necessarily look like that to me. What I assumed it was from the roof was an obstructed clean out access point. Now, we did in fact run across an obstructed, oh, you know, there you go. I think it's this right here. Jeez. I just noticed this right now. Okay, so we have a clean out here that is obstructed with construction debris. You're gonna see in the video, the very end of the inspection video, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of hard debris adhered to the bottom of the pipe to the point where I can't even make the bottom sweep. Now from that roof vent, I saw green fabric. You look down here, there is a clean out plug for the toilet here where they just shoved a rag in there. Or they shoved, looks like a pair of pants or a shirt or something. So at least we got to the bottom of what that material was that we were seeing from the roof vent. As I suspected, it was something that was blocking up a clean out from ground level. That is in fact what's going on. We have a 3-inch clean out here for the sewer line. They shoved a pair of shorts or a shirt in there so that you wouldn't have sewer gases coming in and, you know, knocking you in the face, which they're doing for me right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and shove that back in there. You clearly need a clean out plug for this, along with the cover plate. But the big question is, why do we have a clean out over here? And why is that filled with debris? Did they put a clean out here, fill that in with debris on accident, or find out that was filled with debris, add another clean out behind the toilet and just get lazy and not put in a $5 clean out plug and another $5 cover plate? I have no idea, but that seems to be the case. So in conclusion in here, fortunately we figured out what that fabric was that was partially obstructing the vent. It's not a rag in the wall or anything like that. It's actually a rag shoved in here, a pair of shorts or something in the clean out plug. So what you're gonna end up with in this particular bathroom is a clean out plug back here. This is a direct access point to the sewer line. We dropped down the roof and we viewed that. That's what we viewed all the way out to the city. You need a clean out plug here, you need a clean out plate, and then you're just gonna have this here, which serves absolutely no purpose. Another clean out is filled in with construction debris about 1.5 to 2 feet away. So a lot of stuff that needs to be addressed by a plumber. As I said early on in this video, you want to pass along this inspection report to said plumbers so they have a general idea of the mess they're walking into, because there's multiple things that need to be addressed. As of right now, just with the sewer line, we've got potentially 3 repairs and or dig ups that need to happen. One with the crushed section of pipe coming off the front guest bathroom. 2, the removal of the hard construction debris stuck in the line for the back guest bathroom. And then 3, the Orangeburg off the back side of the property. That's still not addressing the construction debris that's in the line coming off the master side. And then the other things that we discussed early on, questionable depth of the front guest bathroom, questionable venting, or at least the material for the venting, and then the lack of clean out and access to the vent for the island sink or kitchen sink drain line.